Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Creator Cafe. I'm your host, Tyler Malad, and I'm actually joined by professional photographer Brittany Bravo today. And if you want to give us a little bit of what you do and things like that.
Yeah, so I've been a professional photographer for 3 years now. I'm still learning and growing, so I'm not exactly where I want to be yet. But currently, I work full time at Forever 21 Corporate, doing like e-commerce photography and creative imagery for the brand. And I think like my personal work, I like to focus on Latin-centric themes and pictures that celebrate my culture. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit about
That's
me.
cool. I
Mhm.
also saw you worked before with like BuzzFeed, and there was another one, right?
Yeah, I worked with BuzzFeed. That was really cool. I shot photos for one of their videos where they're having like BuzzFeed cast members recreate like their icons from the 2010s.
Oh,
So that
that's
was really
cool.
cool. So we
Yeah.
took like a music video still from one of their icons. Like someone did Harry Styles. So we recreated a still from Harry Styles and like she got like makeup and wardrobe done and looked just like him. And then we took a photo recreating the music video.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool. And then I also did a project for Getty Images.
How was that one?
That one was cool. That one I did on friendship between men, and they actually named the photo one of the best of 2019. So that was really cool.
Dang, getting like awards and stuff too.
Yeah,
You guys, she's a big name out
so
there already.
no, not at all.
Anyways, today I had some people submit some questions over on Instagram, and I just want to like go ahead and we can discuss them. And like some people just want some tips, or even tell some stories later. So, you ready?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
ready.
Let's see here. Let me take a look. So first, what kind of inspires you to do photography? Like what? I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like, can you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think like growing up, looking at magazines, I didn't always see people that look like me or my family or my friends, and I feel like I want to create a more inclusive imagery and work that really celebrates like people of all kinds and beauty of all kinds and like just all cultures. So I feel like that really inspires my work and kind of like drives me morally too when it comes to my
Mhm.
work. So my goal is to eventually become like an editorial slash like commercial photographer.
Oh, nice.
Like a focus on just like diverse like beauty.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Because
Yeah.
like sometimes you just see like the same like skinny models all the time, like all like the
Yeah.
magazines or ads and stuff. I think it'd
Yeah.
be cool to
Which is
actually have like
also gorgeous, but there's all kinds of
yeah,
gorgeousness, you
yeah.
know?
I think like more representation for like all different people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just celebrating all of us. And I think also being creative with it. I like photos that tell a story or that have a
Hmm.
theme to it. I'm still kind of like working on growing that skill and developing that. But some photographers that inspire me are like Tim Walker. I don't know if you've seen his work before,
I
but
haven't.
his
Who
work
is?
is
What does he do?
insane. He does like, I don't know, let me try to pull up like maybe some of his photos. He's from the UK and he does really, really creative imagery.
Oh, whoa. Pretty like more like
Yeah, and
abstract, I guess.
yeah,
Would you
super
say?
abstract. He always has a lot of intention and thought behind his photos. And I feel like that's my goal eventually too.
Oh, nice. Is that
Yeah.
like editorial stuff too, or what would you?
Yeah, like he'll shoot for Vogue. Like he shot the cover of Harry Styles' album.
Oh, cool.
Do you recognize this?
I
And
think
that
I've
like
seen that
gloved
one. Yeah.
hand in the corner is like his own hand, the
Oh.
photographer's hand. Like he does all kinds of like crazy stuff.
Would you consider him
Like
to be
puts
like
together.
one of your favorite photographers?
Yeah, most
Oh, nice.
definitely. I actually just bought one of his photo books that I'm waiting for in the mail. So I'm super excited for
Ooh.
that. My other favorite photographer is like Lola Bravo. So that's cool. We have the same last name and she's
Oh,
one
I
of
thought it
like
was someone related to you or something, but
she's like a really iconic like Mexican photographer. And she a lot of her work was like prolific during like the 40s and 80s. She shot a lot of photos of like Frida Kahlo.
oh, really? I
So yeah.
remember like that was the painter, right? I think. Was she?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
painter, exactly.
Okay.
I also have her photo book, but I'll grab it.
By the way, the favorite photographer question was from Nikki Sapasiar.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh nice. Thanks, Nikki.
Also, her another one of hers is what's the most awkward experience you had while on a shoot?
Oh, awkward experience. Luckily, I don't think I've had too many of those.
Hmm.
Maybe every now and then, maybe I'll do like an engagement shoot, and sometimes like one of the people will be super chatty, and maybe the other partner will be like very, very quiet, or maybe just like really shy and uncomfortable. But other than that, I don't think I really have like awkward experiences shooting. It's usually pretty fun. Like people who want to be in front of the camera, like they're excited, they're ready,
Yeah,
even if
they're all
they're
like
nervous.
jumpy and
Yeah, exactly. Even if they're
excited.
nervous, like they're still like it's fun because they're ready
Yeah.
to have fun, like look good in their photos.
I think for me,
Yeah,
like
so
whenever I'm getting my photo taken, like I'm the one that's kind of like awkward, doesn't really know what to do, like how to
I
pose and
know.
stuff.
No, honestly, I'm the awkward one too. Like when people put me in front of the camera, I'm like, they're like, hey, like move around a little bit, like don't be so stiff. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Really?
Like, yeah, I'm like, hey, like standing there just
Yeah.
straight, like looking forward.
I feel like all photographers can probably relate to like when they're on the other side, right?
No, it's so true. I saw a really funny meme. It was like me showing off my pictures, and it's just this guy like showing off his work. It's like versus me in front of the camera, and you're just like, don't look at
Oh, am I supposed to answer these two? I think I am, right?
me. Yeah, answer
Okay.
them.
My most awkward. You, I don't have like
Mhm.
that many, because it's kind of just good vibes and all that. I think
Yeah.
one time though, so here's what happened. I think it was a couple weeks, no, a couple years ago. I mean,
Mhm.
my friend Kira, she was over in Alabama and she came to
Mhm.
California just to hang
Mhm.
out with her friend Elena. She was an ambassador for MPS, and so we met, like we all hung out and stuff on one day, and it was cool. We're all just
Mhm.
like having a good time and stuff. But then the next day we wanted to do like another shoot since like we had limited time.
Mhm.
So I changed the plans like last minute. I thought they were mad at me. When I got there,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, like I don't know what to do. And then apparently they thought I was mad at them. So like,
Oh, it
yeah,
was like a miscommunication.
yeah. So we're all kind of like, it was a little bit awkward. But after
Yeah,
we were
there was
like,
like some
oh,
weirdness
I
between
thought you were
all of
mad at
you.
me. Like, we're just having that back and forth. Like, oh, that's what happened. Like we're,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
figured it out
And then
afterward.
you realized it was all okay in the end.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. I think sometimes nervous when I put like a team together. I always want the photos to turn out like really, really good. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
like, I have a makeup artist, like a stylist, like I brought all these people together and they gave me their labor and their time and their energy and effort to like make this shoot happen. So then
Right.
I always feel a lot of pressure to like create like really good photos. So I always feel like during those shoots I could be like more nervous or a little more
Mhm.
awkward because I'm like, oh my gosh, it has to be good. I can't waste anyone's time. And then in
Plus,
my
they're
head,
all
I'll be
there
like,
with
oh my
you
gosh,
too,
like,
they're all
you're not,
like watching.
yeah, yeah. I'll be like, they don't like the photos. I'm not doing good. I'm wasting their time. So I get worried about those things too. But
Sometimes
then
you
I
think
just
they might
remember,
be
like,
thinking about you too, like judging you or
yeah,
something.
no, it's so true. Because sometimes they'll be like, do you like the makeup? Does it look good? Are you sure? Like, you're just being nice. And I'm like, no, I love the makeup. So it's funny. I think we all like stress out and worry ourselves, assuming what other people are thinking. But then the day,
Yeah.
everyone's always like chilling and more worried about themselves than you
Yeah, I was
ever.
just gonna say that, like, we always think that people are thinking about us, but in reality, they're worrying about themselves
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That's always how it is.
Oh, I got one from Mallory. Remember that girl that you helped with her lighting or something, or with
Oh yeah, through
the color
DMs,
filters?
right?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, I remember with the gels.
yeah, yeah. So she has a question here. What was the hardest obstacle you've had to overcome while shooting?
I think honestly, like lack of confidence
Mm.
while
Like
shooting.
in
I think that's
yourself or
something
like
I'm
the
still
models
overcoming.
or?
No, like myself, yeah, like feeling like maybe not super confident that I'm like good or that I can get the shot I see in my head. And
Mm.
so I think that's still an obstacle I'm still overcoming every time I shoot, especially if it's like a bigger team or if there's more pressure on the photo. It's just really like my own attitude towards myself and like my skill level, imposter syndrome, all that good stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think that's the biggest obstacle I'm still working on and just tell myself like, no, you got this, you're still growing and learning, you can
Yeah.
totally get the good shot, you know. So just
So
kind of
just
like
like
that.
positively like reinforcing yourself, like, hey, I can do this. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly, exactly. How about you?
What is it? For me, I kind of have the same thing, but more
Mhm.
like I don't. I have struggled with like posing people. Like I'm never really sure.
Yeah.
Like, how do I make them pose? Like, do it. Like I always say, like, do something with your hands.
Yeah, especially doing like I like stuff to look a little more like out of the box. I don't
Yeah.
want anything to look too boring. But sometimes it can be hard, and sometimes it's really helpful if like the model also has like pose ideas.
Yeah.
I remember I did this one shoot with actually the Getty Images one. The two models they had really great pose ideas. They're like, oh, what if we did this or we did that? Like I feel like most of the poses or like the ideas for the photos were really like their ideas.
Hmm.
They're like, oh my gosh, like we should both like do the same exact pose together holding these flowers. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Yes, let's do it. And those photos turned out so cool.
That's cool.
So it really can be like a team effort too when you're not too
Right.
sure about like the posing.
You have a really good model too, and they like do their own poses and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
There's this one
Like, keep
model I
going,
really
you know?
like.
Like, I'll
Yeah,
do
no.
my thing. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, beautiful. You look great. Just go with it.
going back to that lighting thing I just mentioned, I have a question from Tor.
Mhm.
He asks, ask her how she does her lighting for your shoots. I know you do like studio shoots mainly, right? Or
Yeah, like definitely both available, like natural light and studio. When it comes to like natural light, I like to shoot in direct sunlight.
oh, really?
I don't like shooting really in the shade or in like in cloudy weather. I know a lot of people do, and I do want to experiment with that style. But for the most part, I like shooting literally like just like direct sun on them. And if
Huh.
anything, I'll try to get even more light on them with like filling it with maybe like a big whiteboard or something. But I like that because I feel like it really just like makes people's faces look like more cut, and I like just like the contrastness, like the contrastiness of it and how just like sharp it looks. Like
Mhm.
I like doing like basketball, for example. I think that looks really cool in direct sunlight. I think it really like kind of like cuts out the model much more. Even like fashion stuff too in the sunlight. I don't know, it just gives it like this really nice glowy feel to it. And then when it comes to studio lighting, that always just depends on like the creative for the shoot and what we're going for. So that really like it can look totally different every time. But I tend to use like Pro Photo Light, but that brand is super expensive and not super accessible to everyone. So you can use any kind of studio lights you can get your hands on, you can afford. But yeah, I think it's just experimenting with it.
Yeah, definitely.
hmm
Also, when you said direct sunlight, does that mean you
hmm
shoot in midday?
No, I won't shoot like midday. It'll be
Okay,
like
had me
direct
worried. I
sunlight.
was like,
Yeah.
because
Although
I
I've
don't
shot
do that. Like,
midday
I
direct
cannot.
sunlight too, it ain't as cute. But no, usually like 3 o'clock and onwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when it's not like that harsh, like noon overhead
Yeah, that. Ooh,
sunlight that like gives people like the skeleton eye and it's just like
yeah, really.
super bright. Yeah, no, not like that. Or like early
Oh,
morning sunlight too, like
mm.
sunrise, because that's also
What
really
about like
pretty.
yeah, sunrise and sunset? Do you shoot in
Mhm.
those too mainly?
Yeah, definitely. I like to shoot like if I were to shoot at sunrise, I'd shoot from like the sunrise until like maybe like 3 or 4 hours after the sun has risen. And then same thing with sunset, like 3 to 4 hours before sunset actually happens, and then up until sunset.
I do golden hour too mainly. Like that's kind of my go-to, you know.
Yeah, it's super pretty.
In the morning, sometimes I wanted to shoot at sunrise, but not everyone wakes up in time, you know, because everyone like
Yeah.
sleeps in later. But I'm up at like 5 or 6 every day, so
Well, you're early bird.
yeah.
I am not an early bird. I'm definitely like a sleep in, stay up late kind of person. But no, sunrise shoots are amazing. I don't know what it is. They're so pretty. I did one time with one of my friends, Chris. He's like a really good creative director, and he always has like these really amazing, just like creative concepts that he's always thinking of. And so one day, like I had dinner with him, and one of these models he likes to work with, his name's Joe. He was like, "Oh man, like Joe moves to New York City tomorrow, but I have this amazing idea, like concept I want to do with him. But and he said he's down to shoot it, but I know you work full time and you'll be at work all day tomorrow, so too bad we won't be able to shoot it with him before he moves." And I'm like, "What if we did a sunrise shoot before I go into work and before he leaves for New York City?" And he's like, "Yes." So like literally at midnight we planned a sunrise shoot,
Oh,
and it was a basketball shoot. So we drove around town asking all our friends if they had any basketballs we could borrow. And
wow,
then we just like we slept for a few hours and then got up and like went and shot this concept at sunrise before I went to work.
that's cool.
Yeah. I'm
You
really
had
happy
to
we
wake
did
up in
it. It's one of
like
my
five
favorite
hours after that, after planning it, huh?
I know, right?
Whoa.
No, his concept was just so cool. I don't know, I really wanted to do it. So I was like, no, let's make it happen. Let's do it no matter what.
I think I saw the photos for that. I think
hmm
that was cool.
We could show it. It's only one person in the photos, but I composited the photos together so it would look like multiple people. And my friend's concept, it was me versus me. The only one who can stop me is me.
Oh yeah, I remember those. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's Joe just playing basketball with himself. Sat on the basketball hoop for this shot.
Jeez, how did you edit that in like with Photoshop?
I like just composited the
Plus
images
all the
together. So
shadows too, like
yeah, the
individual
shadows were the
photos.
trickiest, honestly. I would have one base photo. Joe was really good at this too, because I didn't have a tripod. So I was shooting this, holding it, and then trying to hold as still as I could
Oh
so the
yeah.
camera wouldn't like move too much. So I
Plus
was
each
trying to hold
picture needs to
still.
be like completely still, right? To like get the
Yeah, exactly. So I could composite the images more, just easier and like more accurately.
right.
And so Joe literally was like running around from spot to spot too. And so I'd be like, okay, I got the shot, like go to the next spot. And then he would like toss the basketball out of the way. He'd run to a spot that he'd think would be good versus where he had just stood. And then he'd like be like just doing this whole thing like he's playing basketball against no one. And then I'd be like, okay, I got the shot, go to the next one. And he's like,
Wow.
okay. And he'd run again and he'd be like, and it was just this for like hours. And my hands were just like kind of shaking and I'm like all sweating and tired too. Because I'm trying to hold still and get the like, most accurate like lineup of photos.
Yeah. They came out really well too.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I spent a long time editing those together.
I have a next question from
Mhm.
Super Sanira. What
Mhm.
made you get into photography?
I think originally I wanted to be a filmmaker. And so when I was like in middle school and high school, I was always like playing with the camera and making little videos. And then it just kind of led me to explore photography, of course, because I had a camera. And then I joined like yearbook as a photographer, like my senior year of high school. And then ever since then, I've been pretty like inseparable from a camera. How about you? What made you start?
Oh, it goes back to freshman year of high school.
Mhm.
So
Ah,
it didn't even start with photography. So
mhm.
believe it or not, it actually started with me wanting to model because like my friend
Aw,
Savannah was like, "Oh, you have nice features. You should be a model." So I was like,
mhm.
"Huh, okay."
You're like, oh, you're like, you don't say.
So what I did was I booked a shoot to build my portfolio, right? And it was
Mhm,
with Erica Waddle. I don't know if she still takes photos, but yeah, that was
mhm,
like my first shoot
mhm.
that I had ever.
Oh, that's so
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, and then after that, I was kind of like, huh, I kind of like photos, And then I bought a camera. I think it was like a what was it? I had a camera before. It was like a power shot that I used to take nature photos of.
Mhm.
But anyways, I got my first
Okay,
DSLR.
gotcha.
It was a Rebel T6.
Mhm,
And then that's kinda like when I
mhm.
started getting into, like, portraits and stuff, like, I would go with my neighbor, and then we'd go take photos in, like, the hills and stuff. Then I realized, like, hey, I like
Mm.
being behind the camera more and, like, that whole process? So then that's kinda where it all
Yeah,
started and took off from there.
how you got into it.
Yeah.
It helps you live in a really beautiful place too. You're right by the beach, like
Oh,
super gorgeous nature, like beautiful SoCal city. So I feel like that's helpful too when you have a nice, like accessible place to take photos at.
yeah, that's true. Next question is from AM underscore
Mhm.
photography 8468. Her name's Alyssa, but that's her username.
Okay.
How to get natural looking poses? I think I'll leave that one to you because,
Mm.
you're a lot better with that than I am.
Yeah. I feel like if you're working with a like professional model, like someone who's like signed to an agency and this is their full-time job and they make money doing this, that shouldn't be an issue. They are skilled at this, they're professional, like they know what to do. But if you're working with someone who's just starting out, who's learning, or maybe it's a client, like it's your friend from school who just really wants like nice photos for their Instagram, then they probably might not know how to pose naturally. So in those instances, for someone who's not as experienced in front of a camera, I think the first thing to do is to make sure you're comfortable with each other at the off start. Kind of starting conversation with them, being like, "Hey, how's it going? Are you excited?" Getting personable so they feel comfortable with you. So that's like the first step. So that way, there's no awkwardness. They don't feel like weird about it. You're some stranger. So it's like really fun and personable already. And then I think the next thing is once they're in front of the camera and starting to pose, and they're like, "I don't know what to do." I usually just tell people like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take just a bunch of photos, at once, like just a lot. Just keep moving, feeling yourself, like just do you. You could like take a step back or step forward, like swing your arms around. You can even like dance, just like be fun with it, be silly about it, and we'll get at least one good photo. So that kind of like speeding it up like that and making it very fluid feeling kind of helps them feel a little more like fun about it. They're like, oh, okay. And they'll kind of start getting into it. And then when I see a good shot, I'll pause it and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, like look how great this photo looks. You look really good." They see it and they're like, "Oh, I do look good." And then their confidence kind of starts
Right.
building and they start getting more natural about it and more themselves. Kind of like
Also,
my
like, if you're
process.
going fast, and it kinda takes their mind off, "Am I doing the right thing?"
Yes, they're not overthinking anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they're just like, "Oh, okay, okay." They hear like the camera clicking.
You
Like,
gotta you gotta keep moving.
yeah, exactly. Have any tips or things that you do?
For me, it's hard because that's something I struggle with a little bit too?
Yeah.
For me, I usually, always have them do their hands? Because instead of just having them,
Mhm.
like, at their side the whole time, just standing, have them keep moving like you said.
Yeah, yeah, just making it more fluid for them.
Yeah.
So not just like holding the same pose for like 10 photos in a row, just like, okay, what do I do now?
Next question is from Marta, and her Instagram is Marta Perez with two Z's and an F at the end. What would you improve about my pictures? What are some content suggestions you have for me?
Oh, her page is cute. And it's a lot of little like selfies and things. I don't know, I think it's cute since this is a personal page. I mean, I would say just keep posting photos that feel like express yourself and feel like you. If like selfies seem to be her thing, like girl, keep posting your selfies. You know, if you feeling cute, you like these photos, keep posting them. I have no like real critique for it.
Don't let like the judgment of other people like dictate what you post,
Hmm.
because I feel like just
It's
post
so
what you want
true.
to post and like I mean if
Hmm.
you like a photo that you took, then just post it, like not really care about like,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
oh, why did you post
That's
them?
true.
Like it doesn't really matter in the end.
Yeah, like don't post for others or to please anyone else but
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah,
Unless
definitely.
you're like posting to like try to get like work, like that makes sense if you have like a certain strategy with that. But if it's just like your personal page, it's like, oh, just share it with your friends. You know, use it as your personal kind of scrapbook so you could look back years ago, like, oh, I did this back in the day.
Or what would you recommend for her if she wants to like probably work with any brands in the future,
Hmm.
like for her photos? What should she do for
Sometimes I
them?
don't know this, but like brands will have like specific hashtags. Like for example, with Forever 21, a lot of people think just hashtagging hashtag Forever 21 will get their photo noticed by the brand, but each brand has a specific hashtag that they legally people need to tag in their posts in order for the brand to share it. So it tends not to just be the name of the brand, but something more specific. So, for example, Forever 21's official hashtag to share your content would be hashtag F21XMe. And so if you tag your photo with that, then your photo will get noticed more by the brand because then they can actually like legally use your photo to share on their
Oh, I
page.
see. Okay.
Yeah, and plus since not a lot of people know that, less people are using that hashtag, but the actual social media team only looks at that hashtag really,
That's
not like
interesting
the
actually.
bigger hashtag. Yeah, so same
Life
thing for
hack
H&M, just
for
any
all of
brand
us.
you can think of, Fashion Nova, they look at their specific hashtag that they've created. Usually you can find that hashtag like in the brand's bio. So they'll be like, "Oh, want to be featured? Tag us with hashtag, da, da,
Or they might have like a campaign going on where they actually have like a specific hashtag for that too, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like maybe they're selling like a Barbie line, so they'll have like a specific like Barbie kind of hashtag they have temporarily to notice what
Right.
people are using. So that's one way to get noticed by brands.
Would you suggest like like even for photographers too, if they want to work with brands, would you
Mhm.
suggest reaching out to them, like the brands
Yes.
themselves, or
Mhm.
kind of making yourself big enough to where they come to you?
I would say like maybe a combination of the two.
Mhm.
Like personally, most of my business is word of mouth, so I'm really like grateful for that. So always maintaining like good relationships. You don't even need to be like this huge, like insta famous photographer. Really just have your unique style and be consistent about it. And as you work with like person by person, if they enjoyed working with you and like, you have like kind of like great customer service and you're really reliable and consistent with your work, they'll tend to hire you again and they'll also share your name with other people.
True.
So that's really helpful. And then, yeah, I think reaching out directly is really good too. Like making a leads list of brands that you feel your style could fit with or that you would love to work with, like as your a dream brand, and maybe finding like their photo, like maybe if it's like it's a editorial magazine or something, like maybe finding their photo editor's email, or maybe finding like the creative director, stuff like that, and maybe just you could cold email them, but be prepared for no answer at all or just a no.
Going back to like being prepared for rejections, like
Mhm.
expect hundreds of no's before you get
Yeah, or just
one.
no reply at all because you're cold emailing them. And then with your emails, be like do your research. Don't just like send out a mass email to like all these brands. Do your research and really fine tune the email to that person. Even if it means just sending like one email a day because that's all you have time for. Don't just send a bunch of like meaningless cold emails to
Mhm.
people. Like make it
Like your
more
direct
personal.
ones too.
Yeah,
Personalize
exactly.
it.
Exactly. So that way you'll have a better chance of getting a reply, even if it's a no for now. At least they interacted with you.
Possibly in the future,
Mhm.
you email them again, like maybe they're willing that time, or if it's like the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yes, just being like respectful, understanding a no, not feeling entitled to their time either, because they're busy people, and they may be receiving a lot of requests like that all the time, and they don't always have time to look at everything or consider everyone.
Yeah.
Or they may already have like the people they work with already and don't maybe have a need for you right now. But yeah, just always keep staying persistent, but respectfully persistent.
Right. This one isn't a question, it says. It's from Sky. It says, "This isn't a question, but I miss you, Tyler. How you been? If you even remember who I am." Hey, Sky, I miss you too. I hope I remember.
Do you remember who they are?
Of course.
Aw.
Me too. This one's another one from Nikki. It says, "Who is one person you would want to collaborate with if you were given the chance? Like out of all the creators in the world."
Probably Jen Im. I know it's super random. She's like, a really big like fashion influencer. But like I've been watching her since high school and it's always been a dream of mine to like take photos of her just because I want to take a photo of Jen Im because I love her so much. So I
Mhm.
think that's who it would probably be.
That's cool.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if you noticed, apart from you would be a Jessica Kobasi. Maybe sometime in the future. Like sometimes she replies to my DMs, but other times she just
Ooh,
leaves them on.
hey.
I got another one from Super Sneera. It says, "Do you have a favorite photo or a collection of photos?"
Yeah, I think my favorite collection of photos, this little series I did.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Those are cool.
Yeah, I think these are like my favorites currently. I
Will
think
you
because this is
take
more
those?
the style I want to continue kind of developing. And I also just think like Jose, the model, I think he's just so beautiful and I love his look and he's such a like wonderful, like nice person as well.
That's cool. I
Yeah, so I
really like
really
kind
like
of like the old fashioned kind of theme you guys did.
yeah, it actually so it took me like a year to get these photos out there. So I
Oh,
shot
oh,
them
you
like
had them for a while?
yeah,
Oh,
so I kept going back and forth about the edits. Like I can take a really long time to edit photos
oh, I feel
because
that.
I'll just like stare at them, I'll let it marinate, I'll like edit them, and then I'll redo the edits, and then I'll redo the edits again. So like I could re-edit photos like 5 times until I'm actually like happy with it and like how it looks. And
Or
like
like
I'm
have
confident.
all these different variants of the same photo.
No, it's so true. And it'll be like minor differences, like one's slightly darker, one's slightly brighter, one's more contrasty, one's flatter.
And
But
like
yeah,
we can tell, because like we're editing it and like, oh, it looks different. But like other people
yeah.
probably
And
like,
sometimes when you look at it with fresh eyes too, you're like, what was I thinking? Like this looks crazy. Like what? Yeah, so sometimes I need some time, like a week in between like editing the photos just to look at them again with fresh eyes and be like, okay, like I do like how this looks, or oh no, like it's too red. Why did I not notice that before? So stuff like
and
that.
sometimes like I'll ask like my friend who's probably not like they're not a photographer,
Hmm.
so they don't like nitpick like every little tiny detail. And I show them like, oh, which one do you like better? And like,
Yeah.
are they the same? Is it a trick question? And then
I know. I always show my family too. I'm like, which one? I'm like switching between 3 photos that are like micro differences. My family's like, oh, they all look good. Don't ask me. I don't know. They're always getting bombarded by me. Like, what do you think? What do you think of this photo? What do you think of that one?
so actually, before we wrap up, I want to ask a question too. Like, what? Because I know you've been
Mhm.
shooting still, even though like we're in quarantine and stuff. So,
Yeah.
what are some ideas that we can do? Like as creators, like while we're stuck in the house and we want to create stuff
Honestly,
still.
shooting like, still life stuff, that could be really cool. Self portraits.
True.
I could show you even some like good still life ideas, stuff you just have around the house. Like I really like these ones because I like that it's literally like pizza,
Oh, wow.
like hot dogs, Cheetos, and they use like, like kind of almost like a flash situation.
Yeah, that's
So if you
cool.
have like even just like a basic camera flash, you could probably like create something cool like this. So
Even
just
like with your iPhone or something.
yeah, honestly, just like having fun with it. Like, and it doesn't have to be like these types of items. It could be anything you really like. Like, I really love Mexican candy. So I've done like a lot of still lifes with like Mexican candy before just because I love it.
Hmm.
So it's fun for me. Like, I'm just like, I can just play with it.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
did
It
this
looks
for
good. You have
Valentine's
any? You want
Day.
to bring me some of those?
I do have a huge bag of it sitting in my room.
Alright.
I'll use some
Bring me some
Mexican
when I go
candy.
to LA next time.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been creating at all during this time?
Hmm, I haven't. This is probably the most creative thing I've done in a while.
Mhm. Hey, and that's okay. We're all going through like a collective like trauma right now, This is pretty like scary time. So I think it's okay if people don't feel motivated to create. You can't create if you're empty. Like there's like no pressure to even be creating anything right now.
Yeah, true. Also, I think
Mhm.
I think I told you, my friend Justina got an idea for like a FaceTime photo shoot. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have been seeing those. I think they also did one for, like, a big magazine lately.
Oh, really?
Like yeah, with, like, Gigi Hadid or Bella Hadid, like, one of those girls.
That provides an outlet to, like, social distance, but still, like, do a shoot, you know?
Yes, and also have just, like, the social interaction with the other person too.
Yeah,
Because I think
definitely.
that's, like, the fun part about shooting is, like, meeting the people and being like,
Right.
"Hey," and having a fun time with them.
Because it's different, you know, taking self-portraits, like, it's
Yeah.
still cool, but, like, I know it's less interactive and fun, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah, that's true. Because you have to maybe I haven't watched, like, a video of how they make them, but I'm sure it's a lot of being like, "Okay, like, place your phone right there, like, try to do this pose," and you just, like, screenshot, screenshot. You're, like, in the little
Like,
corner
just
looking like a little
quick
potato just
FaceTime.
like, "Okay, looks good." It's really cool, though, I really like it.
Yeah, same. You know, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up episode 1 of the Creator Cafe. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you
Any
for
last
having me.
words
This
for
was so much
everyone, or any
fun.
last tips, or
I don't think so. Just have fun with it. At the end of the day, creating is really for you, an expression of yourself and what you believe in. So just do that and have fun.
cool. All right, thanks guys for tuning in. This video will be up on YouTube and as well as some podcast platforms that I'm going to sort out. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in and look forward to the next episode. See ya.